Welcome back, everyone. Thanks so much for tuning in once again to my podcast. This is kind of amazing to me that I just looked at my calendar and realized that today is my podcast anniversary. So, today, April 15th, 14 years ago, I had to do the math in my head real quick. 14 years ago, I recorded my very first episode of The Queen's Lair. How amazing is that? And look how far this podcast has come. This podcast has become a great, I'm going to say healer for me, because those who have been rocking with me for a long time know that The Queen's Lair actually started out as an online show. And it was on video and everything. And then somehow over time, I wanted to move it into a different space. I think that when you're on camera, people expect certain things of you. I would get weird DMs from men and women. It was weird. So I was like, you know what? I need to slow it down and kind of disconnect from that, where you can just absorb the content in a way that doesn't necessarily have to show my face. Now, you want to know what I look like? I mean, you could go to my social media. I don't hide what I look like or anything like that, but I just felt like it was becoming more commercialized, I guess you could say, and it was not, to be honest, it wasn't really enjoyable for me. I love doing my show, but I think being on camera was a lot, because you feel like you can't look a certain way or turn a certain way or this, And I said, you know what, I'm later for that. But yeah, I decided to pivot the podcast, because at one time I just wanted to quit. I didn't even want to do the podcast anymore. But at some point, I decided, I guess it was during the pandemic, because we just had nothing but time on our hands. And even though it was super difficult to watch the world literally imploding in front of us, it was just so super, super difficult to see the suffering happening and losing people that we know and just going through so much. But it also collectively gave us an opportunity to really lock into the things that really matter. And that meant locking in with family. A lot of family was moving cross country and uprooting and choosing to quarantine together, which I loved watching that. Seeing a lot of families say, you know what? For the next 3 months, we're going to quarantine together to make sure that they could see each other. And I just thought that was wonderful. And people turned that into content, into vlogs. And it was great to see a lot of different people and how they were handling the pandemic and all that we endured as human beings worldwide. But then, like I said, it also gave me time to sort out my podcast and decide to not give it up and to keep it going. So I'm glad that I did that. I'm glad that I figured that out. It also gave me a lot of time to think about my business and the way that I wanted to move in my business and launch a few products. You guys know I have my t-shirt line that I've had for quite a few years now, still doing well. I'm in the lifestyle space heavy just because of even what I do as an executive brand manager. I literally manage people's brands, their brand voice. How are people reacting to products and businesses, and making sure that the PR of it all is together and right. And yeah, I love what I do. And I think that my clients definitely appreciate my perspective and what I bring to the table to help them realize their brand's potential and expanding it and growing it. It's like one of my favorite things ever. Um, but yeah, so podcast anniversary. So I think that this is like a great time to do this on this day. It's been a couple of weeks since I recorded, and there's been a lot that has gone on in the last actually in the last month or so, 5 weeks or so. There's been quite a bit going on professionally and also personally. I will talk about that and family dynamics and how we are with our families and how we are with our loved ones in general, you know. So I'll definitely do another podcast on that. But this today is just to talk about my journey with this podcast and how much I appreciate you guys tuning in all the time. And, you know, this podcast has become sort of like an entrepreneur diary for me. You know, if that makes any sense. If you're tuning in for the first time, first of all, welcome. My name is Renee Patrice, and I am the CEO of Onyx Queen Media, which is a lifestyle branding and marketing firm. And I absolutely love what I do. And I love working with clients, and I love when they light up because they found a way to expand their brand. They found a way to another stream of income. You know, they found freedom of being able to leave their 9 to 5. That makes me super happy. Now, if you're in your 9 to 5, keep that going so you can fund the things that you want to do, because that's what I did. I took my 9 to 5 and I used it to fund the business that I was building, you know. So we're not telling people to be foolish and don't pay your bills. Pay your bills. Keep that 9 to 5, but also your 5 to 9. People forget about the 5 to 9 part. There's your 9 to 5, and then there's your 5 to 9. Your 5 to 9 is when you work on your business. Don't neglect your family. Don't neglect your significant other, your children, or whoever needs you in your life. But do set aside some time between 5 and 9 for you to work on your brand, for you to work on that product or that business, even if it's research, you know, for an hour or so online. There's so many different things, you know, and tools that we have at our disposal now, all the AIs and things that you can do research on and in depth and, you know, just searching on different subject matters so you can help your product development along. There's so many things. Just Google. I tell this to you all the time. Google is your friend. Use it. You know, use Google. I know people have a love-hate relationship with AI. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, AI is amazing. It is a tool. Don't have AI write a whole book and do all this stuff. No. If you have a talent for something, the talent is already there. AI can be used as a tool that you have in your arsenal to help further what you already have established, you know, or to give you some jump starter ideas on things. You know, it's like having a little researcher assistant in your back pocket. So many ways. So many ways that we can use the tools that we have on the web. And that's what I did, you know, until I built my business and was able to step away from corporate America completely, you know, and that has been a blessing to be able to do. So I just want to give, you know, um, a little encouragement for those entrepreneurs that are still, you know, thinking, oh, I'm in my 9 to 5. Listen, that 9 to 5 is going to lead you to freedom, you know, and by that I mean it is going to fund whatever your dream is. So don't worry about the 9 to 5 right now. Use that as the stepping stones to build your dream, to move into freedom. And by freedom, I mean the freedom for you to be able to choose your schedule, to decide how much you work or how much you don't work. Anybody who knows me knows I'm a work smarter, not harder person. I did the hard work. I did the scripting, the scrapping, and the scraping for a long time, to be able to get where I am now. It was not an overnight thing, and I'm still building. People will see me and be like, oh, she's got her own business. She had her own business for so long. And listen, I'm still building. I'm still not exactly where I want to be. I still have goals. Your goals are, the things that you want to accomplish over time. And I still have goals. And every year I set new goals and new, heights that I want to reach. So, listen, again, this is just a little encouragement for anyone out there who is trying to build their business. If you are confused about what to do with your business, or you're expanding your business and you're not sure how to scale, listen, send me an email, and we'll talk about it. Or go on my website, onyxqueenmedia.com, or you can email me hello@onyxqueenmedia.com. I have different packages with things to talk about your business and see where you want to go. Some people have no clue what they want to do, but they know they want to own a business. And we can even flush that out, because what I will do is like a whole entire questionnaire with you to see what are your strengths. What are the things that you can monetize? One of the things I have said to so many clients and speaking engagements and things, I say to people, monetize your mind. Take what you do. Maybe you went to school for something specific. Maybe you go to a trade school. Whatever it is, take what you have in your mind and monetize it. Take what you have learned over 30 years in XYZ business and monetize it. If you are even in burnout in your business, you can monetize your burnout. How do you monetize burnout? Show people how not to burn out who are in your same industry. Maybe you're an engineer, maybe you're a doctor, maybe you're a teacher, whatever it is. Whatever you are burnt out about, you can relate to somebody else who is on their way there. And you can let them know, listen, here are the mistakes that I made, which is why I burnt out. And here's what you can do to avoid burnout. Here's what you can do to avoid those pitfalls. So people think because they may have burnout from a particular business that they're in, or they failed. If you failed in your business, honey, that's a manual. Okay? Because failing really is a lesson. People have to stop looking at failing as, oh, it's over and I can't do anything else. I failed. If you failed, you learned. So help the next person not fall in those same traps. Help the next person, the next future entrepreneur, small business owner. Help them so that they don't have to fall into the trap like you did. Because if you fell into a trap and you failed in something in your business, chances are it was a lesson learned. So teach those lessons and teach what you learned. You can monetize anything. Anything. Okay? So that was on the free 99 for you right there. Okay? So again, thank you so much for supporting my podcast. And, I know that I have great clients who, have a monetary investment in my business. But for you that listen even to my podcast, you're streaming. You're literally streaming my content, which in the end helps me and helps my business. So I'm very grateful for that, and I don't take it for granted at all. Thank you so much. So on this anniversary, 14 years into this podcast, I'm going to keep it going. Definitely going to keep it going. I'll check in with you guys again very soon. And again, thank you so much for tuning in. Bye, you guys.